I first went on the Mac into Illustrator and I designed my layout and all the mappings. I then transfer that using electrical tape and pencil crayons to the actual board. I realized that none of the plugs would fit through the openings. So I laid out all the pedals and then I marked with electrical tape and pencil crayon openings. All these openings would have to be taken to a machine shop to cut open, but I'm sure if you have a small Dremel bit, you could do it yourself. I also made sure that the venting was not obstructed. So then I started mounting all the plates up on the top side and the bottom side. So here's the overall layout of where everything is going. And I noticed underneath there's a lot of real estate where these undermounts can go. However, it takes up surface real estate. So I have to make sure that they stay between the areas. I then had an electrical splitter and I mounted that. One of the things I'm gonna say is I found these Chicago screws and they fit perfectly. So once I mounted my electrical, and I noticed that the undermount and the above mounts stick out, I wanted to find a solution where I could mount things underneath as well as on top. And these Chicago screws looked to be the perfect solution. So these screws could fit underneath pedals and have no obstruction, as well as, they're clean and easy to install and move around if needed. So here's some areas where I just kind of mapped out underneath the Helix and some of my other larger pedals of where I could put additional mounting if wished. So everything was all mapped out, ready to be cut, and I took it to the machine shop and they cut it for me. So back to the Chicago screws. I then had the machine shop manufacture some custom stainless steel panels for me that matched the whole pattern of the Temple board, as well as had enough width to fit the Chicago screws. So as you can see, these screws stick out just enough for the thickness of the plate. So I went ahead and started building the board. I put in all the modules on both left side and right side, added my Temple power source, and then I started adding in all the D-link connections, as well as the Hi5 power module. So all these accessories got plugged in nice and easily, no soldering required. And then I decided to add the LED. So the Temple LED was super easy to install, took a few minutes. Obviously tested before I continued. Okay, all the modules were built, put in place, and then installed. And that's the left side. The right side had the power supply as well as a 4-input output. Adding USB 3 as well as some Midi Outs on the one side was actually quite handy, so I can keep everything from the pedal running underneath the board and out one side only. It prevents, any damaging or stepping on things, and I can put a nice little rumble strip on top of it to protect all the cables coming out of it. Again, buying 3-foot cables going into the 4X mod allowed me to run it underneath the board and right into the Helix. And it could be a TS or a TRS. Again, these modules are from Neutrix. They're really, really good, high quality, and they come already pre-soldered. So powering up the board, everything worked well, and I started laying out all the pedals. Okay, testing it out, obviously in night mode to make sure it's super cool. I was happy with the overall layout, but then I went back and remapped all the cables and the power supply cables going into the power supply just to make it a little bit cleaner and more separation. Okay, finally remounted the Helix and whatever other pedals that need to go on, which I don't have very many. And once it's all set up, it's very clean, very easy to use, very portable. Again, another test. It would have been better if I actually had the Helix on. And so based on this, I was ready to go up to the final cleanup stage of running all the cables into the Helix and out through it. Now, to show you about those stainless steel panels I had manufactured, really cool solution here. So again, where the Chicago screws were, that I already had them pre-mapped, all I had to do was just loosen the screws, put the plates in, put the screws back on, and now I have a complete flush mounted system where I could put pedals on top, which sit lower than the actual, I don't know what you call them, the little mods or the little clips that come with the Temple audio. So this solution is fantastic for running mounting plates underneath pedals, where those big knobs from the Temple audio do not obstruct your real estate. So I had a couple large ones made for mounting a Mac Mini underneath it. I decided to keep it separate, the Mac Mini, and keep it with the mixer. So at the end of the day, I got my gear by Seba and put it all together. I'm super happy with it.